I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Yes, I read my novels with sound effects and B-roll that goes along with the story. So if you like books on tape with a twist, subscribe to the channel. It's that little red button below the video. And if you're on a phone, smash that little notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload a new video. Today, we're going to be reading the Prologue Remastered. So buckle your seatbelt, it's quite the ride, and we'll see you on the other side. A month after the heist started, the American fugitive sat in the Bulldog number 90, a coffee shop deep in the heart of Amsterdam's red light district. With one of the weed tenders, he smoked a joint of super skunk and held a quiet conversation. On his mind were the last 9 years of his life, as well as the money in the Gucci messenger bag between his legs that would give him a new start. 9 bloody years, he said to himself. It was a long time. He wondered if the people at home would accept him, welcome him back with open arms, or if they would say, "Oh, here comes old Jimmy Dempsey, back from the dead. Look at him. He's got that long hair, and he's been doing all those drugs." Regardless, he'd find out soon. To him, though, it didn't matter, one way or the other. He was going home, he had the money, and he would just build a house in the country and say the hell with everybody if it came to that. Surely Hannah had gotten a letter. Surely she were on her way to meet him. Surely she was going to fly off into the sunset with him. Or maybe it was just a fantasy, he thought dourly. Maybe he was kidding himself. Was he delusional to think that she still loved him? Would she show up at the last minute? Or would he lose the love of his life forever? "So," the weed tender said, "you're on your way to Denmark, then?" In nearly flawless Dutch, the elusive American replied, "Yeah, I have some business up there, and then I'm heading back to the States." He looked down at his Gucci messenger bag, making doubly sure it was safe. The weed tender wondered how the American had learned to speak Dutch so well. He said, "Do you have business in Amsterdam?" Something like that, came the reticent reply. 9 years, he reminded himself. Was she going to show, or would he continue on to Denmark without her? "What is your name?" the Bulldog employee asked. "They call me Hunt." "So, Hunt, you going to tell me what you do?" "Let's just say I trade. I'm supposed to be meeting someone here today, and I thought, what better place than the legendary Bulldog coffee shop?" Where the hell was she? He mailed the letter on time. He was sure of it. "Yeah, many Americans come here to see the famous coffee shop." The Bulldog employee, like he'd done 1,000 times, went on to explain the history of coffee shops and how they started in Amsterdam. "You must give this a try," the weed tender said, lighting another joint. "It is called the Silver Haze." It was then that Hunt's ear caught a familiar tune, REM's "It's the End of the World as We Know It," which sent him back in time. 9 years earlier, at 3 in the morning on April 1st, 1988, on the humid Mississippi Gulf Coast, Jimmy Dempsey drove his peregrine VW camper van west down Highway 90. In the rearview mirror, he noticed a single set of headlights. Otherwise, a pitch-black night stared back at him. In front of him was the 4-mile Bay Bridge, connecting Pass Christian to Bay St. Louis. Perfect. Just that one car, he thought. If there was ever a time, it was now. Not a boat in sight, not a car anywhere. While driving, Jimmy thought about the ill-fated events that had brought him to this lonely bridge on this lonely night. He remembered the detectives questioning him hours upon hours, and he remembered seeing their reactions of disbelief. No matter what Jimmy said, the detectives kept saying, "Sure, we understand. We know you're not the kind of guy who would do this unspeakable crime." They consoled him. They gave him food and a Coke. They even doled out cigarettes one by one, letting him smoke during their interrogation. His father, a criminal defense lawyer, had explained to him long ago about the cops' techniques of extracting confessions. "Warm 'em up and then reel 'em in," his father used to say. Jimmy wasn't having any of it. After all, he was innocent. When it was apparent that they weren't buying his story, he asked for a lawyer. Jimmy recalled how this infuriated him and how he knew at some point in the near future that he would be charged with the murder of his neighbor and former girlfriend, Mary Kay Dotson. Why hadn't they believed him? As Jimmy neared the halfway point of the bridge, he slowed the van to a crawl and edged to the shoulder. The unmistakable woof of the German engine muffled in the air. It was the 1976 Westphalia model. The headlights behind him were upon him now. "Keep your cool. Don't panic. Everything will be all right." He looked back once again, then forward, and turned on the hazard lights. With a shaky hand, he grabbed an envelope from the glove box, stuck it on the dashboard, and slipped out of the van. The cool breeze of the bay sent a shiver down his spine. Jimmy saw that the other vehicle, a red Mercury Cougar, had stopped, pulled up right behind his own vehicle, and waited for his next move. What should he do? Casually walk over or run toward the other car? Deciding on the latter, taking one last look around to make sure the coast was clear, he took off in a sprint, raced from the passenger side of the Cougar, flung open the door, and was greeted by the love of his life. Later that day, when the morning cleared and the afternoon came, Jimmy and the pretty lady found themselves on the same stretch of road, approaching the same bridge, but under a different set of circumstances. This time they had other plans. They were driving to New Orleans to catch a flight. It was strange, he thought, because it was April Fool's Day and it was raining, yet the sun shone brightly. He remembered back to his youth, hanging out with his father, who, at times like these, would say, "Look, son, the devil's beating his wife. When you see that, boy, it means something." The red Cougar, a rental from Hertz, rounded Henderson Point. It was here that the sky opened to a blue tarp. The rain had stopped. The devil's wife is safe now. That he was comparing the weather to his present life made him uncomfortable. Jimmy couldn't help wondering if he had done the right thing. Perhaps it was the devil leading him along. Only time would tell. Jimmy passed the spot on the bridge where he had left his treasured van not 12 hours ago. He knew that there would be an APB out on him in any vehicle that he owned. He also thought about the old adage that his father had taught him. Criminals always return to the scene of the crime. As Jimmy peered over the bridge, he noticed several Coast Guard vessels. It appeared that they were dredging the waters. Jimmy knew that they were looking for his dead body. He gave them a little wave and whispered, "Guess y'all opened up the envelope and found the note. Good luck, boys." At that moment, Jimmy Dempsey realized that he may never see American soil again. With concern in his eyes, Jimmy looked over at his companion and said, "We have to catch that plane." "You must not to worry," the Dutch girl said in her weedy accent. "If we don't, they're going to be red flagging me all over the country, and then I'm screwed." "The vater van you, he was good man, no?" "The smartest I've ever known," Jimmy said. "He had his enemies, though. When Mama came and told me that Daddy had a heart attack, the first thing I thought was she was going to say he was up at the hospital, hooked up to all those tubes. I thought he was going to be all right. I did. I never thought she was going to tell me that he didn't make it, that he died, you know. But that's the way it happened. I wasn't going to jail up my father here to defend me. You see, I was framed." "What is this word, framed?" "You know, the police blame me for the crime. Next thing I know, I'm being arrested. Mama knew I wouldn't do such a thing. Shit, everyone knew it but the cops. Daddy could have shown I was innocent. Without him, though, I've been stuck with one of them public defenders. Jimmy could tell that his response had confused the poor girl. You know, the judge would have hired me one of those free lawyers. Then the jury would have gone into the guilty room, and I'd be spending the rest of my life in the state pen at Parchment. Like my father always said, you get what you pay for. Shit, those convicts would have just loved me, if you know what I mean. Hell no. You know what would have happened? When Daddy's old clients got wind that I was locked up with them, they would have had a field day with my ass. Jimmy shook his head. That's when I decided to get the hell out of here. That's about the time I met you. I believe you have made the right decision, the Dutch girl said. Hannah was her name, Hannah van den Berg, and in English it literally meant Hannah from the mountains. Maybe she was a savior. He didn't know. He couldn't say for sure. The lady who came out of the mountains to save his soul. I have been through difficult times before. My father has arranged everything. He will be waiting for us in Amsterdam. You will have a new identity, a new life. Jimmy Dempsey had the fake passport in his bag. I want Jimmy L. Hunt. Back in Amsterdam? Hunt was snapped back to reality by the weed tender who said, So, do you think your friend will show? Doesn't look like it, Hunt said, thinking, So long, Hannah. Maybe we'll meet again. You must have come back to visit sometime. Maybe so, we'll see. Good luck, my friend. Thanks, I'll need it, said Hunt, as he placed a firm grip on his Gucci messenger bag and left the Bulldog number 90. If you enjoyed the video tonight, don't forget to hit the like and leave a comment down below. Go back to the beginning of Dutch Coffee Shop by clicking right here, or just hit that little picture of me down there and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you on the other side.